Following the sentencing hearing held at the end of February involving Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, St. George News sat down with the detectives assigned to the case, Santa Clara Ivan Sergeant Nick Tobler and Detective Jessica Bate, whose tireless efforts ultimately resulted in both defendants being sentenced to prison. Both commented on what they found in the house, the abuse, and the impact that the case has had on both investigators. Washington County Attorney Eric Clark, the lead prosecutor in the case, also commented on the charges, the nature of the abuse, and the courageous actions of the 12-year-old that day.
The first 24 hours of the investigation, I would say those were the busiest hours, but then the investigation itself, that drug on for 3-4 months, just with several different interviews, family members, prior victims of Jodi Hildebrandt. The abuse appeared to be long-term.
We ended up making entry into where the girl was found, and to see her sitting there in the middle of this room, empty closet in the dark.
Those rations were tiny. She would keep food from them for days at a time, and on top of that, they're doing physical activity for 18 to 20 hours a day. He's jumping on the trampoline in 110-degree weather for 8+ hours at a time. Like, that alone, on top of a growing boy, and then you're serving him that ration.
Clearly we can prove to a jury emotional abuse, torture, malnourishment. So we can prove those things, and then even if we had 60 counts, right? If we had or 120 counts, if we charged them for each day, and they'd been convicted of 120 counts, under state law, they're still capped at a maximum of 30 years.
They're tough situations. They're not something you really, it's not like I came to work today thinking I'm gonna handle this case today. This isn't gonna be something that's come across my plate. And when you respond, you deal with it, you deal with the emotions as they come. I remember getting in the back of the ambulance and taking the photographs and doing the initial interview with the boy and trying to decide what we had. And when I got out of the ambulance, you can check your emotions again, like, okay, here we go, it's time to get to work. But just the courage he had. I mean, he saved his life, he saved his sister's life, and who knows how many more.
I would try to come up with ways to talk about this, to convey how bad it was, but until you see the video of him walking up to ring the doorbells, or until you see the photos of the state those two kids were in, you get how awful this abuse was. You get that it was inexcusable. This is horrific, aggravated child abuse. And the first time that he ran away a month earlier, he didn't try to go to any houses. He just tried to make it to the lights of Ivan's town, to the police station. And sorry, it just always hits me. The really bad abuse happened after they caught him from that. The fact that he was emotionally strong enough after he runs away the first time and then is horrifically abused for several more weeks, and then physically gets on his feet and runs away a second time and keeps ringing doorbells until he finds someone who can bring him in, is just the best part of the whole story.
This is Cody Blowers reporting for St. George News, your #1 source for local news.